D-Max Beats.
This beat is crazy. crazy.
This is the Born of Levi experience on G.O.C.C. Media.
Yes, yes, yes. Shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. Peace and blessings. How's everybody doing in the room? Welcome for another edition of the Born of Levi experience. I'm your host, your brother, Officer Hazak. Man, how y'all guys doing today, man? Appreciate you guys for coming in. And if you can, please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit the bell for notifications, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Please. Let's do this. And as usual, as I do it every week, let me see them qualms in the chat if I'm coming in nice and clear. I appreciate the qualms in the chat. I appreciate it. Let me get them qualms in the chat if I can, please. We have a great show lined up for you, brothers and sisters, today. A very great show. But before we kick it off, I'm gonna start it with a song by my brother. Real quick, I'm gonna start the show. 1 second, let me see if I can pull it up. By GOCC. GOCC is called Eternal Life.
Lord is my rock and my salvation.
This is the Born of Levi experience on G.O.C.C. Media.
My God, my rock, my refuge, my shield, my horn, my salvation, my stronghold and my savior. Save me from these haters. Give me eternal life, yeah. I want eternal life, yeah.
Thank you for putting them qualms in the chat. I appreciate it.
Through it all, keep me clean. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not lack. Keeping my family close, lay on my back. Refresh my soul and guide me. Keep me around positive energy. Most High made the wave, so I'm gon' ride. You talk about my ox, then we gon' slide. Never will trust the streets again. They took most my friends from me. Gotta watch all my enemies. I know the righteous praying for me. My God, my rock, my refuge, my shield, my horn, my salvation, my stronghold and my savior. Save me from these haters. Give me eternal life, yeah. I want eternal life, yeah. May God himself give me peace. Through it all, keep me clean. Seeking the kingdom, gotta show love to my neighbor. Love my brother like I love myself, never a hater. I seen bros cost out they bros for some paper. I seen niggas get shot down for some paper. We gotta learn, we gotta lead the streets and study the word. Follow the plan he gave us, put the Most High first. I'ma lead by example, that's my word. Forever and ever, yeah. My God, my rock, my refuge, my shield, my horn, my salvation, my stronghold and my savior. Save me from these haters. Give me eternal life, yeah. I want eternal life, yeah. May God himself give me peace. Through it all, keep me clean.
Yes. That was Eternal Life by GOCC. Beautiful song. Praise the Most High for that song. But yeah, I'll clap it up for that song. But brothers and sisters, we are here for another edition for this live. I really pray everybody is having a blessed week. I know I am. I'm just happy that we're at the tail end of the week. But as you can see, we have a beautiful show lined up for you all today or tonight, as promised. You guys already seen the title. You guys seen the thumbnail. It's titled Young and Modest. Okay, Young and Modest, right? Gonna be shedding some light on us, on the younger sisters' perspective of, being young in the truth. And of course, first and foremost, being modest, taking on that culture, taking on that approach where we're living in a world where sex sells. Let's, just be honest, right? And the more skin you reveal, the more appealing you are to men. But is that what men really want? We got to talk about that, right? But, we're in tune for a great show. So continue, brothers and sisters, continue to hit that like button, to continue to share this particular stream, so that way we could get our sisters involved, our younger sisters, because it's about shaping the minds of the youth. That's what it's about. The youth is the future, right? We got to make sure that our youth is on the right path when it comes to this truth, when it comes to this walk, and when it comes to pushing Christ's ministry throughout the four corners, because this is the truth. If you don't believe that this is the truth, then that's between you and whoever you believe in. But for those of you guys who's a part of this church, this is the truth, right? And I believe wholeheartedly, I believe that we are walking in the steps of the apostles. And the reason why I feel I'm saying that, because I seen, shout out to Officer Zachariah. He put a post on Instagram, and he did like a little collage of the baptism that we just recently did. And I'm just looking at that thing and I'm like, it was just giving me chills. Like, this is really what Christ and the apostles set up. This is really what they left behind. And we're actually, and it felt so surreal that we are actually walking after their steps, doing what they were doing, laboring as they were laboring. It just felt amazing. Matter of fact, I want to try to, let me see, before I bring in my guest for this evening, right, who's currently in the green room. I don't know, I like saying the green room, right? I want to play that video. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. And that's the reason why I'm talking the way I'm talking, man. It was such a beautiful video that my Ak put together, and it was just beautiful. I'm gonna try to, let me see if I can find this page. There he goes. And I want to show you guys this video, man. It was just beautiful. It just, like I said, it was just giving me chills seeing that video. Let me share my screen so you guys could see it as well. This is my Ox page, Fresh Boy Life, right? Officer Zachariah, shout out to him, right? But this is the video right here. I want to play it. Their sound. There it goes.
In times, God, you like, yeah. Better than the world. Last days, let's go. Hey, trying to get in that book of life. Had to repent cause I won't live and right. Gotta make haste cause ain't no coming back. Once you cross over to the other side. Yeah. Trying to get in that book of life. But I had to repent cause I won't live and right.
Look at all of the souls getting baptized, man.
Once you cross over to the other side, no way. I'm trying to get in that book of life.
Praise the Most High.
Had to repent cause I won't live and right. Had to make haste cause ain't no coming back. Once you cross over to the other side.
Beautiful, beautiful.
No way, no way, no way. Hey, I see that we at the end. How they gon' act like it ain't what it is? I be in Luke chapter 21. I see the signs. Yasha made it clear. Shadiah told me don't feed in the propaganda. I can already see it. My Akka me wide awake. All of my brews right here. Yeah. I keep bring out the switches in public. I rebuke a demon, I ain't running. We need deep in this truth, we ain't budging. Israelites ain't folded for nothing. Trust me when I say Messiah is coming. Cause I wouldn't say it if he wasn't in that book of life. But I had to repent cause I won't live in right. Gotta make haste cause ain't no coming back. Once you cross over to the other
Elder
side.
Lenny on it. Got Elder Lenny here in the water with us. Praise the Most High. Brother Ron in the background, assisting as well. Beautiful.
Once you cross over to the other side.
Beautiful.
Gotta pick a side, heaven and haze. Most people live just to see an early grave. 1 Peter 2:9. Know that we a chosen generation, but we giving our souls to Satan. Worship a cross, you gon' take the loss. On earth is in heaven, so learn about your
Beautiful,
love.
beautiful.
Bible killing our disciples, deceiving our people. We worshiping idols. They hiding the truth. Salvation is coming for the Jews. In the new world, we gon' run it. We gon' kick out the face like a football punter. We the salt of the earth. We cannot be numbered. They lead us to slaughter.
Beautiful.
But we protected by a father.
Y'all see this, family?
Solomon 3:1. The souls of the righteous can overcome
Trying
if
to
we.
get in that book of life. But I had to repent cause I won't live in right. Gotta make haste cause ain't no coming back. Once you cross over to the other side. No way. Trying to get in that book of life. Had to repent cause I won't live in right.
All smiles.
Gotta make haste cause ain't no coming
new birth.
back. Once you cross over to the other side. No way, no way, no way.
Baptized in the truth, putting in work, trying to reach the kingdom. Repenting from my old ways, now that old man gone, and I mean it. Father, forgive us for what we don't know. No time for playing, you cursing your soul. Planting them seeds and hoping they grow. Out in the streets, feeding the poor. Babylon falling down, time
Beautiful
to get ready
video
for
put
woe.
together, man.
We trust in the Most High, Quam, we letting them know. Repent now for the kingdom at hand, cleanse your soul. Will he make it or will it so burn? Only the Most High knows.
But I had to repent cause I won't
This
live
was a
in
beautiful day,
right.
brother. This is a very beautiful day.
Gotta make haste cause ain't no coming back. Once you cross over to the other side. No way. Trying to get in that book of life. Had to repent cause I won't live in right. Had to make haste cause ain't no coming back. Once you cross over to the other side. No way, no way, no way.
Yeah. So that's the video, man. And you know, seeing this video, oh man, it just, like I said, it's giving me chills all over. Beautiful ending, man. And shout out to the sister who took these pictures, Sister Christina, right? Sister Christina who took these videos, pictures, I should say. All right, shout out to her for doing that. Yeah, man, it was just beautiful, a beautiful day. And you know, I was reflecting on that this week, like, man, like I'm really humbled to really be a part of this work, to really read the scriptures and be like, man, we're really walking in steps of the apostles, right? And really walking as how Christ set it up. But you know, the work continues, right? That it don't stop there. But you know, like I said, my prayer for all of the brothers and sisters who got recently baptized is that they remain. You know, that's what's really important, right? But nonetheless, let's get to the show, right? I thank you all for coming in. Thank you all for hitting that like button. I appreciate you. But without any further of ado, I'm going to bring in my guest, Sister Jenny, or also known as Chats with Jenny. Shalom, shalom, my sister. What's going on? Oh, you have to unmute. You're muted.
Are you able to hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, shalom. Thank you so much
Shalom.
for having me. It's definitely an honor.
Praise the Most High. Thank you for coming on and assisting with this show. I definitely was hearing, the outcry of the people, and they really wanted to hear a sister's perspective as far as being young in the truth, and especially for the women. I understand, and I understand for the women, it's harder to put on the truth, especially when it comes to the modest apparel, right? So I want to talk about that a little bit later, but I want you to, without any further ado, just, introduce yourself, let the people know who you are, right?
Okay, well, my name is Jenny. I'm part of the congregation in Brooklyn, so I congregate in New York City, and I have been a part of the church for about 8 to 9 years. I started watching online 9 years ago, and then I officially joined 8 years ago because I wasn't near a congregation. I'm sorry, I have to not look at the laptop because you're at a different time speed on there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely been a blessing. It's the greatest decision I've ever made in my life. And it's a big difference from, the way that I used to think and what my life used to be like before. I was an atheist before I was in the church and before, I found this congregation. So for me, the idea of modesty, it was like, of course, there's certain things you don't wear outside, but to wear a skirt all the way down to your ankles, I was not going to do that.
All right.
And then I was at 18. So
you said you what? I'm sorry. What was the last part?
I learned about the church and I learned the truth when I was 18 years old. So, that also played a big role into, what my life looked like then and what the transition looked like. And so I'll share that as well.
Okay, well, praise the Most High. You just said a mouthful. I'm going to try to see if I caught all of it, but I want to start piece by piece because, this, the title is titled Young and Modest. So you said you found the truth at 18, but before you found the truth, you said that you was an atheist. Let's talk about that. You said that you was an atheist. That's a strong title to place on yourself.
And not only was I an atheist. I don't know. So I'm sorry. Were you done? Or
Yeah.
You?
No, go ahead.
So not only was I an atheist, but I was very strong about my conviction that God did not exist. Everybody I had a chance to speak to about it, I was trying to convince other people that God did not exist. So my family is from the Dominican Republic. My mom and dad were born there. And so I, of course, grew up Catholic. And when I was much younger, up until the age of around 11 and 12, I had a love of God, but it wasn't we really went to church that often.
Wait, were you was Catholic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. And, I felt like I had a stronger conviction than my parents even, because I remember in middle school, I would tell my mom specifically, you need to put me in my first communion classes if that's what I need to do to get into heaven. And so I was the one pushing for my family to go to church so that I could be saved. But then when I went to high school, I became friends with someone and they were an atheist. And at first, everything they had to say about God really rubbed me the wrong way. It was annoying. But eventually it kind of started to seep into my mind, if God exists, why this and why that? And little by little, I started to kind of become, atheist as well. And my whole argument was, if you grow up your whole life and you believe, and, in whatever culture or religion you were raised in, and you're told, this chair is God. That's what I always used to say. This chair is God. You're going to grow up your whole life and you're going to think that that chair is God. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Mm-hmm. And so in my, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old mind, I'm there's no way that every religion is true. That's just not possible, And so I just felt everything is fake and, there is no God and people just made it up.
Wow. So at a young age, you decided that you were an atheist. So now,
yes.
This and you see, this is the reason why this show is so important, or this broadcast tonight, because it's going to show a lot of the young people how the Most High could take someone who's an atheist and just completely change their life around, turn their life around. And you're living proof of that, right? From not believing in God, not believing that there is a God, doing what you wanted to do in the world, to conforming yourself to understand that there is one God, that you are his chosen, and you want to do his will, and it's showing through your lifestyle. So now you are an atheist, right? Around
Yes.
And this was like high school, so high school going into college, right?
Yeah, so maybe I want to say around the time I was 15, I probably was agnostic, and around 16 to 18, I was an atheist.
So let's talk about the times when you were or that time period. How was your lifestyle? Like how would you quantify your lifestyle as an atheist in high school, and I believe like certain parts of college?
Yeah, well, I mean, at 16, I didn't really have much freedom. So it really was just like a thought, like, it wasn't like it dictated a lot of my actions because I didn't have freedom to be as worldly as I probably would have been if I was like 25 and an atheist. But then when I graduated from high school at 17, that last year before I learned the truth from 17 to 18, I just had a lot of freedom. Like I would just drink a lot. I would probably, I would go to school in the morning, and then like I probably would go out with friends and maybe grab a drink, and then I'd go back to class, and then we'd probably
in
go
high
out
school.
To drink. No, at 18.
At 18, okay.
18, yeah. And I think the priority, like the main focus of my life was like graduate from college and have as much fun as I can have. And I just
was YOLOing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I said you was YOLOing.
Yeah, I was YOLOing. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
For sure. And the biggest thing for me is just God was not in my mind at all. Like from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep, like God was just never on my mind ever. Like, if I lied, like I wouldn't feel bad. If I got drunk, I wouldn't feel bad. If I smoked hookah, like there was nothing in my conscience pricking me about like the things that I was really doing. And especially like my family's very Dominican. They drink. Some of them smoke hookah. Like some of those things were just so normal to me that I never even thought about it twice.
So you was just living do as thou wilt. Like whatever came to your mind, that's how you was living, right? So
yes, not so much on the extreme end,
right.
But yes.
Of course, you still had a conscience. Of course, I'm not gonna say you was just out here crazy, but you had a level of freedom, like as how Paul speak about it in Romans chapter 7. He says, when the law came, I died, because he understood that everything that he was living was contrary to God's word. So basically, that's what you was going through. So now, to the period of 17 going into 18, now you find the truth. So now let's talk about that transition. Right, I want to talk about that transition on how you were able, like, what were you going through at that point in your life where you was able to accept the word of God. You was able to accept the truth, because a lot of atheists, they just write off the Bible as, okay, that's man-made. Everything else is fairy tale. So when someone presents the word to them, it's like not even a thought to them. So what were you going through around that time that allowed you to see the word for what it is now?
I really think that the Most High gave me an epiphany, which is what allowed me to, start looking for God. So before somebody, came to me and told me the truth, I was already looking. Because before that point, I had a lot of people that try to get me to go to their church and pray over me and do all these different things. And I just could not care less. Like I verbatim said, I will never be a Christian. Like I said that multiple times.
Wow. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. When people would try to talk to me about God and Christ, I'll be like, trust me, I'm never going to be a Christian. It's not for me.
Okay, go ahead.
And so what really made me start looking for God is one of my best friends, she used to do witchcraft. So her grandmother was technically a witch in the Dominican Republic, and she passed it on to her. And we were so close. She was like my sister. And so she would read tarot cards. And remember, I didn't believe in God, so I didn't believe that there was a devil either. And so, my mom always told me it's evil. But of course, when you don't care about God, you don't care about the Bible, you're not that interested in like, you know, honoring your parents and obeying them either.
Right.
So of course I let her read my tarot cards, and you know, I never took too much like heed to it either, because I'm like, I don't believe in what you're saying either. I don't believe in anything. But I just to do it. But what put me on this course of following the Most High is when she read my cards, again, I'm not thinking about it too much. And then we went to 42nd Street in Midtown Manhattan that same day. And someone gave me a card to go see a tarot card reader. And I was like, well, I would go, but it's like 40 blocks away. It's super far away. And I put it in my bag, or I threw it away, and I forgot about it. Like 4 or 5 hours passed, and we're like shopping all around Manhattan, and now it's time to go home. So my friend said she had to use the bathroom, so we went to a Starbucks. When we walk into the Starbucks, they say, there's no bathroom here. There's another Starbucks right across the street, and that one has a bathroom. As we walk into that Starbucks, the tarot card reader place was upstairs. And
the
of
same,
course,
the same one from the flyer?
yes, the same exact one from the flyer.
Okay.
The same exact one from the flyer. And of course, I'm thinking, oh, the universe, because I don't believe in God and I don't believe in the devil. So I believe
Okay.
the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to be. And I walk inside, and what really surprised me is the lady, this witch, whatever she said, I don't even remember it because I'm not trying to delve into it or think about it, but whatever it was that she said was verbatim the same thing that my friend said. So if my friend said the sky is blue and that guy is not for you, whatever, the lady said the sky is blue, and you know, she said verbatim the same thing as my friend. And in that moment, like, you know, a couple of weeks after that, and actually a couple of months after that, I just had this epiphany, and I was like, I don't believe in God, but I'm afraid of the dark. What am I afraid of if there's nothing? And then I just started thinking, like, how is it that somebody could read tarot cards and it's like, and like two people could say the same thing in the same day? And I was like, if there's a God and there's a devil, like that can't be of God. I know that would have to be on the wicked side.
Right.
And so I was like, there's, you know, and then I also had an experience with a family member in the Dominican Republic that someone did witchcraft to him, and he died as a result of that witchcraft, unfortunately. And so in that one day, and that one like thought and epiphany that I had, I was like, if witchcraft is real and nobody, like no science out there can prove how witchcraft is real and how then that must mean that there's something spiritually evil outside of this world.
Right.
And if there's spiritually evil, then there has to be something spiritually good. Like everything can't just be evil.
Right.
And then that moment, it just came to me. I was like, if God is real, I'm going to go to hell. And I was like, I know for a fact that if God is real, I'm going to hell, because whatever God's name is or whoever God is, not only do I not know them, like I don't have any idea what their rules are. I'm not living by any of their rules. I'm not even trying. I don't even care. And this is me having the conversation with me at the same time. I'm like, if God asks me, why didn't I follow him? And I say, well, I didn't know what the right religion was. And what would happen if God were to ask me, like, why didn't you even try to find it? Like, why didn't you even look at least a little bit to see if you would find it? And so I said, you know what? If God is real, if God exists, then I should be able to find him. I'm going to look for God. And if God exists, then I will follow God, like whatever that means. And so,
wow. So, but not to cut you off, but you said something that really stuck out to me, and which made me understand something a little bit more about atheists. It's not that atheists don't believe, is they choose not to believe, because you came to the realization that, okay, science cannot prove the spiritual realm. There's obviously something working on the spiritual side of evil. So that means there gotta be a spiritual side of something that's working for good. And that's something that science cannot explain. They try to explain it off with their bogus experiments and hypothesis and hypotenuses and whatever you want to call it, right? And that's what they use. And it brings me back to how Paul explains it I believe in Romans chapter 1, and it says, for the invisible things of things that are created is evidently seen by the things that were created. For the invisible is understood by the things the invisible is understood by the things of the visible. So what the Most High created in the visible could be explained in the invisible. So that's what brought that. It just brought that to my mind. So it's like you, as a atheist, were able to rationalize and really say to yourself, like, okay, there's got to be something to explain the spiritual side if God doesn't exist. So now you left off by saying, if you're gonna find God, you're gonna find it, right? He's gonna present himself. So take me on that journey.
Yes. So I decided, if God exists, I'll spend at least a year of my life looking for God. And if God exists, then he'll show me without a shadow of a doubt what the truth is. And if he doesn't show me and I die, I can at least say, hey, God, like, it's your fault because I tried to show me whatever I wanted to do and I should be okay.
So you're in college. You're in college at this time.
Yes, it was my freshman year of college.
Okay.
I went away for college, but this first year I was still at home.
Okay. All right.
And so in my mind, I was like, okay, well, I grew up as a Catholic and I never read the Bible. So I want to read the Bible first because it's easy for somebody to just snatch me into a different religion and I don't even know my own.
Right.
And so, like, let me look into the Bible first. And then I want to look into the Quran. I want to look into Hinduism, Buddhism. And I just want to look into every religion. And, I should be able to know, like, what is what at the end of this journey, if God is really real.
Right.
I told my grandma, and my grandma gave me my first Bible. And as I took the bus on the way to college, because I then transferred and I was going to go live at the college that I was going to go to. And as I was on the bus, I was just thinking, like, wow, like, people go away to college to, like, party and do all these things, but I just really want to find God. And I was just on the bus thinking, like, I just want to find God. And, it's funny because on my way to school, I had on my very first day, before I even made it to my dorm, a random girl on the bus gave me a ride to the school. And as I'm walking, she introduces me to a brother named Levi. So I met a brother named Levi who's in the church. As I walk into my building,
Shout out brother Levi.
Yes. As I walk into my dorm now, another brother Lascelles, who's also in the church now, asked me if he can help me with my bags because he was part of the committee that helps people with their bags for moving weekend.
Shout out Lascelles.
Shout out to Lascelles. And then that first weekend, I met a brother named Yashar as well, who's also part of the church.
And who also is who again?
I'm sorry?
Who's also who again?
My fiance as well.
He became your fiance. Oh, okay. We can clap it up for that. Shout out my aunt Yashar. Okay, go ahead.
Shout out to Yashar, yes. And so I met another sister named Vanessa that first week of school as well, who's also in the church. And so I do believe that my journey to school was completely ordained by the Most High. But on my journey, I was having a conversation with Brother Levi, and I was like, he was trying to become a Muslim. And, I think I passed him at the dining hall, and I told him I was going to a Bible study, and he said he would go to the Bible study as well. And so he went to the Bible study. I went to the Bible study. And then, I thought the Bible study was great because, remember, like, I'm an atheist, so I'm not even used to going to Bible studies.
Right.
Like, I thought it was amazing. And then we were having a conversation about Islam and Christianity, and Brother Levi said, I want you to meet the most knowledgeable person about religion that I've ever met. And it was Brother Yashar, who I had already met that weekend.
Wow.
And said it, Brother Yashar just so happened to be passing by. And he was like, this is false, and this is false, and I'm going to tell you the truth right now. And this is your tribe. And at first, when I saw him, I immediately was turned off. I was like, when Brother Levi said, I want you to meet the most knowledgeable person about religion that I've ever met, and we're on a college campus, I'm thinking like an older man, maybe 60 years old.
Right.
And then I'm seeing Brother Yashar, who was 18 at the time. He looked like he was 14. And when I saw him, I was just like, there's no way that this is the most knowledgeable person that you've ever met about anything.
Right.
when he started speaking, I had never heard anybody speak with so much conviction before. Like, this is true and this is false and this is this and this is that. And in my spirit, I felt that it was true. But because I came from a background of atheism, I had no faith. So even though I was searching, when he would say, like, when Christ cracks the sky, like, I was just like, you believe that? Like, you really believe that?
Right.
And I just remember thinking, like, one, I want to believe this too. And I want to be able to believe as much as you believe. Because what you're saying sounds like a fairy tale from my atheist, where I was coming from. And then second of all, I just remember thinking, like, oh my gosh, like, I know I was looking for God, but like, if I don't follow God now, this is going to be way worse for me now, because now I actually know.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, like, this is not like a club or something, you just join soccer and then a week later you just don't, it's not for you. And then you just leave. I was like, wow, like, this is heavy. I'm going to really have to try to commit to this. And I hope that God could, allow me to stay in this, and praise the Most High. It's been this September, the end of August will make 9 years since I learned. And I'm so grateful to the Most High and to the group of people that the Most High, brought me up with in this, church, including yourself.
Well, praise the Most High, because, like you said, how the Most High ordained that whole thing. Right. Like, and little did we all know that the Most High would bring all of us together to form the Brooklyn chapter. Right. The Most High is beautiful, and how he works is we can't understand it. But when we actually sit down and put the pieces together, we just left in awe. Right. So now you are learning the truth. You're in college. You're learning the do's and don'ts. You're being taught. Right. How was the transition for you from one being an atheist to now becoming a believer, and now to understanding what the Most High will is for you, understanding what you have to eat, understanding how you have to dress, the head coverings and all of these things? How was the transition for you? And I also want to know, did you get negative feedback from people because you used to dress a certain way? Now you're dressing up, you're covering up, you're more modest, you have your head covering. You look like one of them Sunday old school ladies going to church on a Sunday. That's we get those type of comments a lot. Our sisters get that. Oh, you look like an old lady now. Like, why are you dressing like that for? So, like, I want to know, how was that transition for you?
Yes, I went through a lot of phases in this church, in this truth, in general, especially like, sometimes when you're young, you don't really understand things fully. And sometimes you're a little more radical than you have to be. And sometimes you're a little less radical than you really should be. So in the beginning, a lot of things were a struggle because, here I am, I'm looking for the Most High, but I'm surrounded by, first of all, my mom and dad are not here. So they're not going to know what I do. Only the Most High is going to know. But now I actually fear the Most High. But it's such a craving of the flesh. Like, when you're young, like, it's so hard to not want to make having fun your priority, like your absolute priority in life. And so, like, in the beginning, I would still go to parties and I would do certain things. I wouldn't cross the line with certain things, but I still, like, yearned for the world. But what really helped was really having a group of friends that, the Most High blessed me with, that were also on this walk. And so we would correct each other. We were like parenting each other, basically, like, no, don't wear that. Don't do this. Don't talk like this. You shouldn't, don't talk to this person. Don't do that. We were really, really correcting each other a lot. Wow. And if I was stuck amongst my worldly friends, they would have just excused all of my worldly behavior.
Of course. Right.
Like, I remember one time, I had a hookah, and I had less than 4 months in the truth, maybe 2 months or something like that. And I had it with me because I brought it with me from school, from home. So when I transitioned into the truth, I just had it there still. And, I was still learning, and I wasn't as convicted, with certain things. And I remember, like, Yashar, he had been in the truth since he was like 16, and he really was the one that taught our group. And so I remember like I was hiding it from him, but then he walked into the lounge and he was like, what are you doing? Like, we keep the Sabbath. Like, this has nothing to do with the Most High. And I was just like, I gave up on everything. I'm not giving up on this hookah. And I kid you, that hookah broke that same day.
Oh, wow.
It broke that day.
Wait, you broke it or it just broke? Like,
it broke on, like it fell and it broke.
wow.
And I told you, Sean, I don't care. Like, I already gave up on everything else. Like, I'm gonna get another one. And I was like, no, like now if I get another one, I'm really going out of my way. But those are some of the juvenile kind of thoughts that you have to, you know, fight and overcome and really transition into adulthood when you learn the truth in your teens.
Right. So it's tough, but what made it easier is that you had a group, you had a support system, you had other like-minded youth with you.
Absolutely. That were not excused. We were not excusing any of our, you know, own behaviors. And then with the modesty, at first, you know, I feel like when you're young and you learn the truth, a lot of things that should convict you might not in the very beginning. But as you're exposed to a higher level of righteousness, you start to look at yourself and you're like, I'm falling short from that standard. Realize, like, you know, you're not doing as good as you think you might be doing. And so I remember I went through a phase where, like, you know, if I was repenting, I would wear like this really ugly skirt. It was like this color. It was the ugliest skirt I've ever bought. And I would just wear, like, I can't really describe it, but it was a really ugly outfit, but it was long and very modest. And I would wear that in like symbolism for sackcloth.
Right. Okay.
I was like repentful for something. And I remember that when I was single, there was this guy, he would always try to hit on me and he would call me his wife. We never talked or anything. He would just make comments at me. And when I started dressing like that, he used to be like, you dressing like an old lady. I don't know what's going on with you. Anybody had to say, I didn't care, you know, what people thought. The more I really started falling in love with the Most High and reading the Bible and especially like the gospel, like I just really didn't care. And I learned the truth in like the beginning of September. When I went back to Brooklyn in December, I was a different person altogether.
When you came back home to visit, right?
Yeah, I came back. It was no more hookah. It wasn't any of that.
So let's talk about that experience. You're coming back home for like what was it, like winter recess or something like that, winter break, and now you're home with your family. Now I know they noticed the change. They seen the change. How did they take it? Like explain that.
So at this point, I wasn't necessarily my first winter break that I came back. For me to answer this question, I have to tell you the first video that I ever watched from the church, which was Satanic Religions.
Okay.
And so that also, you know, dictated like the way I was viewing everything when I came back home. And so in the video, Satanic Religions, which was the first one that I watched, Elder said, you know, if you're an atheist, you're a Satanist because your religion is to spread disbelief. And he went into Catholicism and like all these different religions and like, you know, the occult things that they do behind the scenes that really are not of the Most High and are really of Satan. And so I came back home, like my mom is just regular listening to music and I'm thinking like, this is the Illuminati. Like this is like, you know, I'm just looking at my family and it was so sad. It really was just so sad that my family, and we're super close. Even my cousins are like my siblings. And to just see my family and just think like I'm on the right track and all of you guys are on the wrong track. It really, really hurts, especially in the beginning. Like it slapped me in the face. But I wasn't at the point where I was like outright telling everybody yet. And I remember my first December, I can't remember if I went to Christmas or if I didn't, but I remember there was one that I went and I was just supposed to be there. I think I went to tell them the truth or something, and I ended up like being the one that was handing out the gifts somehow, you know. where
It
I
was a
was
bait and
completely,
switch.
yeah, but I that's why, like, when you're young and you're in the truth, and whether that's spiritually young, meaning you just got baptized, or you're actually young, I just recommend, like, pace yourself. Like, you don't want to be amongst people, partying, and you go tell them the truth, and you end up partying too.
Right.
You have to kind of pace yourself and know, like, all right, I'm really cleansed of this sin. I'm really cleansed of these things, and then I can be amongst it and be a light amongst it without it consuming me.
So so how did your family react to the new Jenny?
So when I started going to the church, I had to change the way that I was dressing. That's when I began actually dressing more modestly. I remember actually I would go to church every weekend dressed in pants. And it wasn't until like my 5th Shabbat that somebody came up to me and was like, "Sister, we have a dress code here. Like, you have to dress modestly." And I was so offended. I was like, my pants are loose. Like, what does she mean I have to dress modestly? Like, these pants couldn't be any more loose.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I walked out, I was like, I'm not going back to the church because I don't want to dress like that.
Oh,
and
wow.
I felt like I was enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling my mom, and surprisingly enough, she supported me. And she went with me to, she showed me where I could get some modest dresses, even though she didn't really support me dressing like that because she felt like it was way beyond my years. And, in the beginning, I really just did it to go to church because I had to. Like, I couldn't keep going in pants. They didn't allow me to do that. And I remember just feeling shame, like, to be honest. Like, at first I remember thinking, like, where am I going to buy these long clothes? I've never seen clothes like this in the store.
These long clothes.
Yeah, I remember I literally asked, like, where do you buy your clothes then? Like, I don't know where I could get stuff like this.
Right.
And that's why my mom went to the place where, like, grandmothers buy their clothes, That's the only place she knew. Mm-hmm. And I remember, like, when I would have to get on the train, I'd just be so embarrassed. Like, it just didn't feel like how I wanted it to represent me, even though I wanted to be holy and righteous and of the Most High, and I had a zeal. There's really something about changing your appearance and not showing your skin, not wearing tight clothes. It's such a transition, especially like you're 18 years old and you're like, I'm never gonna wear shorts ever again. It's a transition for sure.
Right.
But my family at first, they would like make fun of it, or they would, they would make certain comments. Or in the beginning, if I was going to be around them, I wouldn't wear my long skirts. I would wear, or I would wear other things. And, eventually, like, with time, I just, I decided, like, I'm not going to care what anybody thinks. At the end of the day, like, people could think I'm crazy. People can think I'm ugly. People could think I look like somebody's grandma. But if I'm pleasing the Most High, I could go to sleep at night. And I know that I have favor with the Most High. And, I always think of it as different as it might be. My younger cousins might be looking up to me.
Right.
And I'm one of the only chances that they have to be exposed to that level of righteousness. And so if I just try to dress to look like everybody else, then I didn't expose them as much as I could have to what a righteous woman should be like. Now I feel like completely confident. I pretty much don't wear skirts. I don't own any jeans. I pretty much only wear sweatpants. If I'm going to the gym and I'll wear it with a long shirt. But that's pretty much it. Everybody that knows me knows that's how I am. And, even now that when I go to work, I get so many compliments. The other day, somebody told me.
I was going to get to that. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Because I was going to get to that too. But go ahead. Say what you was going to say.
Yeah. Like the other day I walked into work and my coworker was like, "Do you own a boutique, Miss Jenny? Because you come in here looking so elegant every day."
Wow.
And, it really made me feel so good because I'm like, that should be the norm. Everybody should dress like this. All the women should be dressing modestly. And there should be an abundance of, modest clothing. But that's not the world that we live in. And when you find your style, actually other people might be compelled to say, wow, that's a very elegant look. I may want to dress like that. Wow. And even some of my worldly family, they want to dress like me too. So, I praise the Most High for that I've been able to find my style, within righteous clothing and modesty.
Right. Praise the Most High, because like I said, I know that transition for you was really tough growing up in Babylon, and how they promote the skinless, or what, the skin, showing the skin as the norm, and dressing provocative and dressing revealing, and or quote unquote what the world calls sexy, right? And it's hard, and it's hard for our women, especially Israelite women, when they find out that they're Israelites, to change into this new form of dressing, because it's like it's a psychological thing. Because like what you just said showed me that it's just all psychological. Because in the beginning, you know, you wouldn't dress like that around your family, but then you was like, you know what? I don't care, as long as I know in my mind that I'm good with the Most High, right? I don't care what anybody thinks. And that's exactly what the scriptures say in Romans 12, right? It says, transform the thinking, your thinking with the renewing of your mind. That's the only way. Once we renew our minds, that's the only way we can prove what is the acceptable will of the Most High. So I want to clap it up for that, because you just showed me, and you're showing everybody else, that the scriptures really gives us the tools we need to re-educate ourselves, because a lot of people, and that's what I believe what holds a lot of people back from really wanting to follow the Most High, especially young people, because they're so caught up in this world and want to fit in. Everybody wants to fit in. Everybody wants to be the next influencer. But in order to do that, you have to play the part. You have to look like the rest of the world. Nah, you don't have to look like the rest of the world. You can be you, and like Christ said, let your light so shine before men. That's what it is. If the light is in you, and we know that the world is in darkness, everybody's going to gravitate to you anyways, because you're the light. And you're proving that by how you're, because I was going to ask you, do you end up getting compliments? Like, how do people receive you? And you said it already. You said it when you come to work, the other sisters is looking at you like, yo, and then you know what that's actually doing, sis? You're actually putting them to shame without you even having, and without you even having to open up a scripture. That's why this, it's taught, a gospel seen is better than a gospel heard. You could stand on the corner all day and night till your face turn blue, screaming and shouting scriptures like some of these people be doing, but their life is not even a representation of those scriptures the scriptures that they're shouting at people. So, praise the Most High for that. Kudos to you for doing that and standing firm, right? So, at this point, I'm assuming that you love the way you dress now. Like you can't see it no other way.
Sorry, I have a little cough.
Oh, it's okay.
But yes, absolutely. There's no other way. I'm not going backwards. Forward always, backwards never. And even like my mom, for example, like at first, like my mom, I used to feel so bad when my mom used to say like, why are you dressed like that? Like, why do you have your head covered? And it coming from my mom, it really did make me feel bad. But now if I'm going to pray with my mom, she knows that she covers her head too.
So you became an example to your mom.
Yeah.
Wow. And I've met your mom. She's such a lovely person, beautiful spirit. Hopefully one day I see her coming with you to the Shabbat. Somebody on the chat just asked, how old are you?
I am 27.
27. Look at that, y'all. 27 years old, and modesty is the best policy. They used to say honesty is the best policy, but we're gonna change it and say modesty is the best policy, right? So we got to make that a shirt. I feel like I'm turning into Elder Rawchaa. We want to make every slogan a shirt, but praise the Most High for that, right? So now, you said a lot. You said atheist. Now you in the truth. Having a band of believers with you, that's what actually helped you with your walk, your modesty, right? So now, you mentioned about your job. So now let's transition to how did the truth influence you into your career path? Because by career choice, you are a licensed therapist, right?
Yes.
So now, how did the truth have anything to do, or you understanding that you was an Israelite and following the Most High, did that have anything to do with your career choice and your career path?
Oh, absolutely. The biggest thing for me in finding a career is like something where I'm able to give back, something where I'm able to make a difference. And at first, me and Yashar, who we have similar resumes, we were in school together to get our degree we were in the Masters of Counseling program together.
Okay.
Switched over to the Masters of Social Work program. And most people don't know, but actually the majority of therapists in the United States have their degree in social work, not in psychology, not in counseling.
Okay.
So, for me, that was like the biggest thing is like, how can I do something where I'm constantly giving back? So, in my current job now, I work with kids that have a parent that's incarcerated, and we work, I do therapy with them, therapy with their parents. And then we also do some case management type of things. So like things that meet their basic needs.
Wow. Okay. And I also know you have other endeavors as well too. You use your license, or is in social work, right?
Yes.
So you're a licensed social worker.
Yes. It's my LMSW. So I'm a licensed master's of social work.
LMSW.
Yes.
Forgive me because I don't have no school training, but LMSW, right? So that is your profession, right?
You have is more than enough.
You said what?
I said you have wisdom, which is more than enough.
Hey, listen, praise the Most High, because my education is not of this world. So clap it up for the Most High for that. I gotta clap it up. My education is really not from this world, but not to say that I didn't obtain anything in this world. That would be selfish of me, but praise the Most High for that. But you do use your skills that you have acquired from schooling, and you use it. I noticed you have a platform. You even changed your Instagram name to Chats with Jenny, right? Chats with Jenny. So now let's talk about that Chats with Jenny stuff, right? your whole your platform. You using your skills that you've obtained through schooling and the wisdom that you've obtained from the Most High, and explain to the people, what is it that you do with that platform?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, there's so many different things, and there's things that I'm even, planning to do in the future. But, us being followers of Christ, it doesn't necessarily exempt us from being sad sometimes, right? Like, a family member might pass away, right? Maybe sometimes people sin and then they can't forgive themselves, right? And that provokes, mental health issues as well. And, sometimes even just knowing that your family's on the wrong track, you might be unequally yoked. We go through all types of problems. Being a Christian doesn't exempt you from having problems in your life. And so I just wanted to show different tools, strategies, and just promote people to improve their mental health, work on their mental health, and just provide different things that I learned in school that might help somebody that's a Christian. And then for the people that are not followers of Christ, that maybe there is an atheist that is following me on Instagram, just to compel them to just think about it again. Like, if nobody told you, you're wrong. There is a God, and his name is Ahaya.
Right. Praise the Most High, Khan.
Yeah.
And what you said is such a beautiful thing, especially when it comes to the mental health thing, because a lot of people don't really understand how serious mental health really is. I understand that the media and the news, they make it a big thing because we understand that the drugs that they're pumping into the communities now, which is making people have a lot of mental health issues, which is not really mental health, it's just demonic attacks. Like, that's another show, right? But the mental health, as far as like what you were saying, being Christ followers, being Christians, being Israelites, that does not exempt us from the things that we experience in the world. A death in the family, you may have lost a job, health problems. These things play a role in how we operate psychologically, and you actually are using your platform to help people express that. I remember one time you did a live stream on your Instagram, and I was skimming through it, and I seen you had this Irish guy on. I don't know if you remember.
Yes,
and
I do remember him.
Yeah, and I'm looking at, I'm like, wow, you managed to have a Irish guy come and speak to you from Ireland, come on and speak to you. But explain to, cause I didn't really watch the whole thing. What was he talking about? Cause I understand, but from what I got from what I seen is that he was going through something.
Yeah,
and
so
he used your platform to release that, to let that out. So talk about that.
So that particular show that you're talking about, I actually have had someone come on. She's a model, but she's a birthmark model. So
I seen that. Yeah,
half of her face basically is a birthmark, and so she's white, but half of her face is red because of the birthmark. And she posts so much, so many different things about self-love and self-acceptance. She didn't get a surgery on it. She doesn't cover it with makeup. She accepts herself for how she is. And I think it's a beautiful message for all of us. And so I had her come on and we spoke. And so this Irish man came on and he spoke about how he's grateful for what, people like us were doing, and how he shared that he had been suicidal in the past.
Wow.
And that actually it was a therapist that helped him to overcome that and, still be here today.
Well, praise the Most High. You see that? You actually using your platform to get people to express. And that's why a lot of people are suffering with trauma and past hurt, and they go into a series of depression. And depression, brothers and sisters, is a real thing. And if you don't seek help for that depression, it could really kill you. And not just that, but if you're still alive, it could allow spirits to use you as a host and keep you in a dark place, and that will lead you to other forms of addiction. And like the scripture says, man, all you have to do is confess your faults and be healed. And a lot of us don't really understand the power of just expressing what you're going through, right? Find somebody to talk to, right? If you don't feel like you trust anybody, get a therapist. If you don't feel like you trust a therapist, talk to the Most High, pray it out, or just release that, because when you hold it in, that gives these demonic forces, these spirits, opportunity to use you as a host, man. And so, I advise everybody to find somebody to talk to, right? And what's so beautiful about that as well too, the Most High has provided the church with licensed therapists. That's what they do by trade. That's what they do by profession. So, do you take clients like that? How does that work?
So it depends on the agency that you work for. Certain agencies don't take enrollment. They're not taking new clients, or you may be working for yourself, or you may be an independent contractor where you can take clients through the agency that you work for. But typically you can only see clients for the state that you're licensed in, unless you're licensed in multiple states. So I am licensed in multiple states. Right now I'm not taking clients, but I do plan to take new clients as of next year.
Okay.
Based on the plans that I have.
Okay.
And my fiance Yashar is a therapist as well.
Yeah.
He's my therapist.
Yeah, I know that. I understand. All you guys went to school and you guys, acquired these degrees and these certifications and these licenses that's allowing you guys to exercise your God-given gifts, just, helping people, right? Excuse me.
Absolutely.
Just helping people. So it's so much value with that. Praise the Most High. At this point in my life, I haven't had to sit down with a therapist and release my thoughts, because one thing that I understand when it comes to scriptures, when it comes to the Bible, the Bible actually gives people the know-how on how to deal with these issues. But but there's people in the world who don't have access to the Bible, or who refuse the Bible. So I just find it so beautiful that you guys are able to use that platform as therapists or social workers, and using your degrees, but using the wisdom that you've acquired from the Most High, and to help these people's lives, right? And I'm not too sure if you could talk about any of your clients, but were there any of your clients that you had to talk off of a ledge, or and how are you able to to use your knowledge of the Most High and your schooling, right, to actually help these people?
That's a really, really good question. I could definitely talk about that. And one thing I'd say is, for somebody that doesn't want to be alive, like in that moment that you feel like that, first of all, it's a spiritual battle, right? And then the second thing is that it's a lack of faith. Like whatever situation you're going through, you just have no faith. You don't think that anything could ever be better. And, whatever it may be that you feel like, this is the thing that's going to break me. This is the thing that I can't overcome. This is the thing that is too much for me. If it's like we have a thoughts, feeling, action chart. If you change the way that you look at things, and then the thing that you are looking at actually starts to change. You might look at it as like, nobody likes me, I have no friends. But then if you just start to think, I can make new friends. Like, there's a possibility that I can make new friends. I can try things I haven't tried before, right? Maybe everybody in my life has hurt me, and I have no hope. But then, you can think, well, I haven't met everybody in the world, right? There's other people out there for me to meet, and not every single person is bad. That will be an impossibility. And so kind of helping people to regain that hope and see the flaws in the way that they're thinking about things, right? So like when people start talking about never and always and like these, these type of terms, you just kind of get them to see like if there's an exception. And if there's an exception, then, why can't that be the possibility for you?
It's all about perspective, is what you're saying.
I'm sorry?
I said it's all about perspective, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the perspective. Sometimes it's really helping people with some of those basic needs. Sometimes it's helping people to forgive, right? Like sometimes it's not even like a problem they're dealing with right now. It's just like pain that they're holding on from the past. And then getting to realize like, you're living as if you were living in that moment 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, but this is 2023 today. Like you're not living in that, but you're choosing to live in that place mentally. And that's what's causing you pain and agony. And so we just do simple things like just breathe in and breathe out. Think of like, just listen to what you're like hearing right now. If it's birds chirping, if it's cars passing by, like think about the moment and feel the moment that you're living in right now and choose to live in today and not in whatever is causing you that pain. But a lot of it is like, biblical concepts too, right? Having faith, like the Bible says, today has enough problems. Why you think about tomorrow? Today has enough problems.
Right.
Just be happy today. And if it's going to go down tomorrow, then let it go down tomorrow. You'll figure it out then. And sometimes people just need somebody that cares for them. Like sometimes like when you're in a church and you have lots of people that care for you, we take for granted, like not everybody has that, unfortunately.
Right, yeah.
And some people, their therapist is the only person that shows them love.
Wow. And to think about that, to think about how there's people in this world who really are just lonely. And they go into a state of depression. I've seen, what you just said brought me to mind of this advertisement that I seen here in New York City about homeless people. I want y'all to hear this. And when I've seen that ad, I'm like, wow, that's really crazy when you think about it. The ad said there's homeless people who have never heard their name spoken out loud in a long time. Because you're homeless. No one knows you. You probably have no family. They haven't heard somebody call their name out loud in a long time. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yo, can you imagine what that could do to somebody psychologically? Like, I don't know if you guys ever thought about that. That's it, like just the thought of just knowing that there's no one to call you. There's no one to speak to you. So imagine what, the emotional damage that's being done, the psychological trauma that you're going through, and the depression that particular person is in. And when you see when I see these people, the lost sheep, see a lot of these lost sheep, that's homeless, that some of them is out of their mind and crazy. Of course, some of them, yes, drugs had something to do with it, but some of these people just went through a crazy depression, and that's why they feel like there's no hope. They just become homeless, and they become like, yo, I don't care about this life. And and these things really happen if they don't, you know, if they don't take care of it. And had they had these avenues to speak to someone or just have somebody call their name, like, who knows where they could have been in this life. You understand? So that's what brought it to mind when you just said that.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And there's another thing that, you know, I see, especially with the young ones too, is bullying. You know, I think as an adult, we're so far removed from like being in a middle school environment that we forget what it's like when you have to go be in the same building as your bully every single day. Like, you may have somebody at work, you don't really like them, but you could be in a different office. But if you have a bully that's in your class, you're with that person 7 hours a day, every single day for a whole year or multiple years in a row. And so sometimes kids feel like, I'm just so stuck, I don't want to be alive anymore, dealing with a bully.
Wow. And that's what usually happens. Then they usually choose the other route of self-deletion. Right. So what would be your advice for someone young dealing with a bully? Because not, you know, there's no bragging points for this, or, you know, I used to be a bully, man. Like, and I'm looking back at it. When I think about the kids that I used to bully, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I wasn't the bully to fight you, but I was the bully to just get at you, just tease you, and just make it hard for you to just walk in the classroom. That was me. I was that kind of kid, you know, being sarcastic, being witty, and just being all over the place, right? And looking back at it, huh?
As I could tell. No.
Listen, the Most High changed me. Listen, I'm no longer that person. The Most High changed me, but you know. I understand from a bully's standpoint, like they could tell an easy target, right? Bullies can tell who's an easy target. Usually a bully won't go after the one that fights back, because, you know, you understand, they want to feel like they have power over that next person. So what would be as a therapist, what would be your, your counsel to someone who's probably dealing with a bully? It could be an older person too. You believe it or not, there's grown people that have bullies at work. Like, it's crazy. It's sad, right? I know a few adults at work who are bullied by other coworkers, and it's crazy. Like, we're grown people now. But yeah, so. What would be your suggestion for someone who's young or old dealing with a bully?
I would say sometimes it's the fear. Like, again, it's the fear of the bully that, like, bothers you more. Like, you may not even be in the school building, but you're at home and you're still thinking about that bully. Like, you're in agony all day, every day, thinking about that person. So one thing I've done is, like, role plays, right? So, like, if you're a parent or you have a little cousin or whoever it may be, like, just pretend, like, all right, I'm going to be a bully. I'm not going to say things that are real about you. I'll say things that are made up or things that don't apply to you, but I'm going to be a bully, and I want you to stand up to me. And so just having kids, like, practice that. Like, wow. How do I, like, you know, when somebody says something super funny about me that's also mean, like, how can I say something witty that's witty back, right? So sometimes I even do that in therapy with kids. Like, all right, you be the bully and you be bullied, and you got to stand up for yourself, and let's see how that feels. Wow,
that's a great exercise, because it's all about confidence as well too. A lot of these children, they lack confidence, depending on, you know, who knows, whatever situation that they're dealing with at home, or, you know what I'm saying, or the psychological trauma that they've experienced in such a young age, and they lack confidence, and they don't know how to really stand up for themselves. Right, so it's important for us to teach our children how to stand up for themselves against the world, because the world is ruthless, man. I'm telling you, it's a dangerous place, right?
For sure. You have lots of other issues. So you have people that are undocumented, that, you know, they can't really work legally, and they have a lot of basic needs. Like, I can't get food stamps. I can't get a job. I can't go back home to my country because I wouldn't be safe there. I've seen some of that. I've seen some men. I've seen situations with men where they grew up their whole life and were like, I am not going to leave my child the way that dad was not there for me. And then it doesn't work out with the mother of their child. And now they have this conflict within themselves. Like what I said I would never do,
they end up doing.
I can't do what I want to do.
So being a therapist, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying being a therapist, you really encounter a lot of different situations, different scenarios. And let me ask you this, does your schooling contribute to how you handle these situations, or you just do it based off of discernment? Like, how does that work?
It goes with both, right? Like, I think one big misconception about like, therapy is like we always know what to say. But I think a big part of it is like I'm just a non-judgmental person that you can talk to, and you can get things off of your chest, and that is already therapeutic in itself. That is already going to help a lot of people, that I can go and just cry and yell and scream about my problems, and you're not going to tell me I'm wrong. And then take it from there. And sometimes it's not even as deep as people think it is. Sometimes it's just asking people like, so what do you want to do? What are your options? Write out pros and cons. So it's school, and some of it is like things from the Most High. Right. So if, like, let's say if I have a, I don't know, like that situation with the, with like, if I have a brother that is in a counseling session, and they're like thinking about leaving their spouse, right? I might, talk to them about like strategies that they might use and to basically, fix their relationship before they, leave, So I wouldn't necessarily tell them stay or don't stay. I wouldn't tell them what to do ever. But I would tell them like, have you considered like working on your relationship before you call it quits? Right. Like, what have you tried? What haven't you tried? And then I might say, do you mind bringing your partner into session? And then we could talk about like communication and like, what's working and what's not working. And every week, maybe give them something different for them to try. Right. And honestly, like sometimes I pray too, like, before I have a session, I'll just be like, Most High, just like show me what to do or help me out. And then like, if it's certain things I've never dealt with before, I'll use what is called the evidence-based practice. So let's say I had multiple kids that were cutting, and I hadn't dealt with that before. And that was a couple of years ago. And so I would look up like evidence-based research, and I would look up and see like the researchers that looked into kids that are cutting, like what out of all the strategies that they use, what were the top ones and what helped. And so some of that might be like, instead of cutting, use an ice cube and put that there. Estoy en el show todavía. Okay, voy a bajar la voz. I'm so sorry. My mom.
No, it's okay.
Thinks I'm loud. So I might say something like use an ice cube or like use a rubber band, and then use that as you try to and then it might be so some of it is evidence-based practices, some of it is like what would the Most High want to be done in this situation, and then posing it as like what do you think about being more humble, for example? What do you think about being more submissive, right? If it's a sister. But I might not phrase it like that. I might say like, do you have a difficult time listening to your husband?
So your job as a therapist is to not really side with them, but just to let them express themselves.
It's to help them express themselves and help reduce the symptoms of why they came in. So, with like a client, let's say they come in for whatever they come in with, right? I have to diagnose for whatever it may be, but it doesn't have to be like PTSD or like anxiety. It can be like adjustment disorder, right? That just means you're having a difficult time adjusting to something in your life. Maybe your husband works until 3 a.m. and you're having a difficult time adjusting. That might be adjustment disorder, or that might be something different related to your family. But whatever I am billing that under, I'm going to be treating the symptoms for that. So if it's anxiety, the goal is for you to not be anxious anymore. So it just depends with everybody.
Right. Okay, that's good to know. You just taught me some things, right? But like I said, is a beautiful thing how the Most High actually used you at such a young age, and from youth, into adulthood, into this modest woman that we've seen, so that we're seeing, I should say, right? So as far as where you see your life now, right? What would you say to the past you?
That's deep. That's very deep.
It's very deep, right? So what would Chats with Jenny now say with Jenny back then?
When I first started the truth, or before?
Before you started the truth. You
Okay.
as yourself now. How would you speak to yourself as you were being a therapist now? What advice I should say you would have gave your past you?
What advice would I have given my past self? That's very deep. I would tell myself, all of the problems that you're experiencing, the answers are in the Bible. And I would say, I know you sometimes wish that God could give you the answer. This is before I was an atheist. But if you pray, he actually would give you the answers. And if you read the Bible, you would know what his will is for your life and what he wants you to do. And you would have less of a headache, and your life would be much simpler and better. You'd be happier. You'd have more direction, the purpose. And I would also say, I always wanted to make change, like, for my community. Like, when I was in the world, I wanted to be a politician. And I would say that there's no greater benefit that you could ever make to your community than for you to first become the woman that God wants you to become. And for you to really follow the Most High, so you can be a light to everybody else.
Wow.
And
And the last thing I'm gonna ask is, what advice would you give to any of the younger sisters that are watching you right now?
Younger sisters that are watching me right now, I would say, honestly, work on your humility and work on your submission. And if you're not married, then work on your submission to your parents, work on your submission to the Most High, and work on being shamefaced and not having a haughty look, and really trying to understand what does it mean to be a woman of God, and understanding your role as a woman, and finding joy in the things of the Most High. So having a balance, like, if you want to have fun, but having a balance where you're doing the work of the Most High. And I believe at any age, you should have a work, you should have a ministry, you should have something that you're doing. If it's, you make cupcakes and you give them out to people that are homeless, whatever it may be, there is something, like, you may have a talent, whatever your talent is, maybe you can sing, maybe you could go to hospitals and sing for people that are sick, and teach and sing gospel songs for them or something. Like, whatever it is that you are talented at, use that for the Most High, and be in complete submission to your parents, and read your Bible every day, because back then it was a privilege to have the Bible, and now we take it for granted. And, people died for us to have this Bible in our house.
Wow. Well,
and Ahaya is a good God, and that's it.
Well, praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. I really like that words of wisdom for the younger sisters, because, like I said, we know it's tough for all of us coming into the truth, especially if you came in at a young age. See me, I came in the truth, in my mid-20s, still a young man, but past my teenage years. But for you guys who came into truth in your teenage years, man, that's wonderful, and that's a beautiful testimony, because the Most High has called you guys from young. He called all of us from young, but you guys as babes, and raised you guys up, and I believe there's a reason why, because as the younger you are, the more moldable you guys can become, which is such a beautiful thing. And I really appreciate you for coming on the show tonight and sharing your wisdom and sharing your thoughts and just sharing being young and modest, man. And I thank you for your wisdom and for your example. And you're always free to come on this platform. Listen, you don't even have to ask me. You're always welcome. And maybe in the future, I probably could add a segment in the show called Ask a Therapist. You know what I'm saying?
I would love to come on with Yashar.
You said what?
I would love to come back on with Yashar.
Of course. Listen, I didn't forget about him too.
This is Yashar, you guys.
You gotta put it in view. Aww. And I know he watching too, so but praise the Most High for your testimony, praise the Most High for your works, and praise the Most High for your example for all of the other daughters of Zion who don't know that they're the daughters of Zion, but will find out.
Yes.
Last words, how can they find you?
So I am on YouTube, Chats with Jenny. I am also on Instagram, Chats with Jenny. And, if you're already watching, please go ahead and follow and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. I haven't posted in a little while because I was sick the last 2 weeks, but I will be posting a lot more. So please tune in.
All right. Praise the Most High. And there you have it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying there you have it, guys. That's Chats with Jenny. Right, young and modest, man. It's such a beautiful example, and I pray that from her testimony and her example, it gives hope and it gives light at the end of the tunnel for all of the sisters who may be struggling with this belief, with this walk, and being modest. And it's okay to be submissive. It's okay to put on the will of the Most High and forget about the world, and it's okay to ignore the thoughts and the gestures from your family, from your friends and people in the world. Who cares about that? You got to let your light shine. And we have living examples of young people doing it throughout the four corners of the earth. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible. It's very much possible. But it starts with renewing your mind, right?
Absolutely. And I would also say that, one of the biggest lies is that, if you're following the truth, you can't have fun. Like, you can still have clean fun. You can go ice skating, roller skating, rollerblading. You can go skydiving. You can travel. You can do all these fun things that are not so worldly. Mm-hmm. And you can still keep the Sabbath and still, praise the Most High and read your Bible. Like, life is a balance. Like, but it's the worldly fun that you can't have. But right. It's not like you can't have any fun. So you really don't lose out on anything by following the Most High. You could literally only win. Right.
Praise the Most High. And I like how you said that, because this world would make you believe that there's no fun being a Christian. Like, you gotta walk a fine line. Yes, we do walk a fine line. We're patterning our lives after the Most High's will. But the scripture says where there's no law, there's no transgression, there's no sin. So, you can have fun, but it must be lawful fun, right? Lawfully, right? And I'm in no way endorsing what the modern day Christians title as fun, as far as going to the club Saturday night and then coming to church on Sunday. Yeah. You know how many Christians do that? That's easy. You know how many Christians, I want to say how many the modern day Christians do that right now, the Sunday worship Christians. They do all type of manner of foolishness but come to church on Sunday. Because you know how I know? Because that used to be me. I used to do it. So we're not talking about that kind of fun. We're talking about real fun, real lawful fun, doing things lawfully, not being a crazy maniac out there and then putting on a front when we come to church on the Shabbat. Nah, everything must be done lawfully, and I'm happy that you put it that way and you phrase it that way, because leave it up to the world, they'll make you think that the only fun to have is the fun that they're showing you, right? And we got to make sure we have our children understand that, listen, there's nothing wrong with you. You're special. right? You just can't do what the other people in the world do. And once you look at it, once you know what I'm saying, once I changed my mind to look at it that way, you know what I'm saying, it didn't faze me when I'm not partaking in what people in the world is partaking in, because I know I'm different. I'm called to be special. That's a beautiful thing. That's an honor to be viewed by the Most High separate from how he views everybody else in the world. And there's power, and you see what I'm saying? There's power in understanding that. There's power in accepting that lifestyle, because the world is trying to make it seem like, nah, we're all one people. It's all about everything. No, I'm not like you. I'm different. The world wants to make you feel like, yeah, we're all one people. No, we're not. According to my God, I'm special. I'm set apart. I'm different. So if my God calls me that, then that means I must live that. You understand what I'm saying? And there's power in that, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you, my sister. I know you gotta go. And I see Mama. You know what I'm saying? Hi, mi mama or tu madre.
Mi mama. Sí.
Yeah, tu madre. I seen her come. Como te llamas? Nah, I'm not gonna try to speak Spanish, but you know. But praise the Most High. I appreciate you for coming on. Right. Yeah. Chats with Jenny, brothers and sisters.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, no problem. Shalom. Shalom. Yes. That was such a beautiful broadcast, man. Or I'll say session. Clap it up one more time for Chats with Jenny. Man, it's so much power in this truth, man, and finding out who we are, man, and just living in that. And I really pray and I really hope that our sisters really found some value in what our sister had to bring forth tonight, man. It should be a no-brainer, man. Don't let nobody, like Paul told Timothy, to all my young brothers and sisters who's watching right now, let no man despise thy youth. Okay? Let no man despise thy youth. Right? Because out of the mouth of babes shall come what? Perfected praise. That's what the scripture teaches us. Right? Out of the mouth of babes will come perfected praise. Right? So I really appreciate you guys. You know how we do it every week. Please continue to hit that like button. Oh, y'all already know what time that is. Y'all hear that sound? Listen. Y'all thought we wasn't gonna bring it out tonight, huh? Listen, there's always room to find a stupor. Huh? You thought I forgot about y'all, huh? Listen, we gonna keep tracking this thing until this kingdom fall. So yes, we have a new rendition or addition to Finding the Stupor. We're tracking this thing as it goes along, right? So this was sent to me by Brother Emmanuel. Shout out to Brother Emmanuel. We're trying to track this stupor, and this, man, this is a stupor that, listen, if you believe this, you might as well believe that pigs can fly. All right. But with this stupor, and this is straight out of New York. Okay. Our Mayor Adams, a brother, he wants New Yorkers to eat less meat to combat climate change. I read it 10 times to make sure I was reading the right thing. Like, he wants New Yorkers, specifically people in New York. He's not making a grandstand for the people throughout the whole 50 states, but he's saying the people, specifically you New Yorkers, we want you guys to eat less meat to combat climate change. Meat? Food? Listen, we got to put this puzzle together, but let's listen to what these guys got to say. Fair use.
Mayor Adams wants New Yorkers to eat less meat to combat climate change.
Huh?
Food is the third biggest source of cities' emissions, right after buildings and transportation. But
so food is one of the leading cause to the rise of emissions in this city. That's crazy. I've never heard anything like. You always hear about cars, right? Cars, trucks, trains, buses. These things give off emission into the ecosystem. Now it's food.
all food is not created equal.
All food not created equal.
The vast majority of food that is contributing to our emission crises lies in meat and dairy products.
Wow.
According to new data released by the city, 20% of the Big Apple's greenhouse gas emissions come from food production and consumption. And the mayor is now vowing to reduce the city's food-based emissions at agencies by 33% in the next.
Listen, I want you guys to read between the lines, though. It says here, Mayor Adams vows to reduce, key word there. He vows to reduce New York's food-based emissions by 33%. Play on, 33%, right? By the year, look at that number, 2030. It's like we keep seeing that year pop up, 2030. They're trying to wrap up everything by 2030. But it says they want to reduce the food base of emissions, basically the way food is being processed. Are they trying to use this as a front for the coming famine? Supposedly, allegedly, I have to say that. I'm not, because I don't know if that's really happening, but allegedly, supposedly, is this going to be the cause of why the trucks is going to stop bringing in food into the city, and there's going to be a shortage of food? Listen, we've been talking about this. Now, all of a sudden, Mayor Eric Adams, okay, Mayor Adams wants to reduce the food-based emissions by 33% by the year 2030. I already told y'all, man, this place, New York, ain't the place to be. Huh? By 2030? As if that wasn't enough. Huh? We got, look, this is something else. This was sent to me by Sister Christine. Shout out Sister Christine. Y'all see it on y'all screen. The Satanic Temple After School Satan Club. Huh? The Satanic Temple After School Satan's Club. What in the world is this? Fair use, guys.
Good evening, I'm Scott Schaefer. We begin tonight in the Lehigh Valley, where a school district has become the first in the state to give approval to an after-school club sponsored by the Satanic Temple. It's
what? Is this real? Like is this really happening? Like, is this really a conversation? So now we could just readily just accept Satan now and just teach about him. Brothers and sisters, if y'all don't see that this is the end times, then you're not supposed to see it. I'm gonna just leave it like that. You're just not supposed to see it. If you can't see it, then you're not supposed to see it. You're supposed to be asleep. But
it's called the After School Satan Club, and its first stop in Pennsylvania is in the Saucon Valley School District, located, ironically, just outside the borough of Hellertown.
Hellertown.
Satan's not an evil guy. He wants you to learn and question why. He wants you to have fun and be yourself. And by the way, there is no hell.
He wants you to live as you are. Wait, I gotta play it back. He said what? He said he wants you to learn and question why. This is what Satan wants you. They're telling you. Look, he said, and by the way, there ain't no hell. That's their pitch. And look, guess who their focus is? The youth, the young and the impressionable. See, I told y'all this is what they're doing. They're focusing on the youth. They're focusing on the children to bring forth the next satanic regime on this earth. So if we not the light for the youth, who's gonna be? Satan.
That's the jingle you hear on the Satanic Temple's website. Catchy, vibrant in color, and to the point. The after-school Satan Club in the Saucon Valley School District is the first in the state of Pennsylvania and just one of 10 in the country. A message sent to parents in the district Monday night grabbed the community's attention, reading in part, consistent with the law and criteria set out in the SVSD board policy and regulations, the district has approved an organization known as the After School Satan Club to host gatherings after school hours in the Saucon Valley Middle School, unquote. Translation, if you allow one religious group to use your facilities, you legally open the door to all. And that is a 2001 Supreme Court ruling.
As it is
Wow. Once you open up your school for one religious group, you open it to all. So maybe, you never know, maybe we could use this. Not the Satan stuff, but maybe we could bring in our own programs, our Hebrew Israelite programs into these schools. This could be an avenue. But what the heck?
It is beyond any superintendent. It is beyond any school board for them to say yes or no. It is now in the hands of the Supreme Court of the United States of America.
Right. So, because if you could let Satanists have a program in a school, why you can't let Christians have a space in your school? And we teach all the children about who they are, their nationality, because we are a religious based group. Got to look into that, y'all. But this is so diabolical, though.
7 o'clock producer Tanya Cleary spoke with June Everett, the national campaign director for the After School Satan Club with the Satanic Temple. Everett says the group only petitions to start a club if someone, in this case a parent, reaches out first.
Usually they found out that there is a Good News Club or a similar evangelical Bible club operating out of their schools. Usually, they come to their own conclusion that they want an alternative to be able to send their child if they don't necessarily, identify with being an evangelical Christian or want their child to particularly attend that club.
The temple says it offers fun-based activities such as art projects, science projects, anything a standard daycare would have, and that includes no religion.
As opposed to,
Well, y'all see how they're painting it as it's like this nice, clean thing, and Satan is a fun guy, and of course, children is gonna accept that. Children will definitely accept something like that. Right? This is insane. All right, let me continue playing this.
The Good News Club, where they do speak about Jesus, God, heaven, hell, all that. Does the After School Satan Club mention?
So, at this time, we do not teach about non-theistic Satanism. So really, we're inspired by the 7 tenets, but we don't, teach the kids to sing songs about the 7 tenets. We don't tell them to go tell all their friends about, After School Satan Club.
The temples.
You could tell she's a witch. You could tell she's a high-level witch. Look at this lady. She's dressed all in black. She got this black eyeshadow just looking creepy as all Hades. She's a top witch. We don't teach them the 7 tenets. What's that? I got to look that up. But she's a witch. And this is what's happening, y'all. They're allowing witches and warlock to well, they've been doing that. Witches and warlocks have been infiltrating the school system, right? The government, right? The police, okay? All these organizations is full with satanic coven followers or members, That's why when some of these children end up missing, they just end up missing and nothing comes of it. Because why? These witches and warlocks are running these organizations. Witch.
7 tenets, but we don't, teach the kids to sing songs about the 7 tenets. We don't tell them to go tell all their friends about, after school.
Look. I didn't even peep. Look at her fingernails. Black fingernails. Witch.
The temple.
Come on. Y'all can't see a witch when y'all see one? Witch.
As it is aware what comes along with the word Satan.
So we are not worshipers. We do not believe in a supernatural Satan.
You're lying.
We look to Satan as a symbol to standing up against tyrannical authority.
You're lying. You're lying. You don't need Satanism to represent that. You could just be free. You could be a liberal. But you can't. Because everything about that screams Satanism. Satan. That's who he is. He's a rebel. So basically, in a nutshell, what you're saying, you just want to rebel. That's what you want to show kids. I just want to rebel against a tyrannical system. Nah, who you want to rebel against is the Most High. That's who Satan was rebelling against. Yeah? In Satan's eyes, the Most High was the tyrant, and he had to rebel against. It's the same ideology.
We do not subscribe to the ideology that the majority Christian faith views Satan as.
So
you are a Satanist, he no matter how you paint it, the Bible paints what Satan is.
This question: can you just call the group something else?
No.
So to call it anything else and to take away the name, we feel, it is not being, transparent and upfront about who we are and what we're representing.
So basically, you actually do worship Satan, because if you can't change the name, what kind of organization you would be? Huh? But the fact that you won't change the name clearly shows that it's rooted about the practice and the worship of that being called Satan. I don't care how you try to paint it. Right? You can't fool me, witch. Black fingernails, black eyeshadow, all dressing all black. All you missing is a cauldron in the back and a black cat walking across your desk. Can't believe this world, man. What type of world are we living in, man? If this is not the stupid that the Most High told me about, then I don't know what is. I do not know what is. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What? So you just gonna act like you're not outright worshiping Satan? Now, it's not about worshiping the deity Satan. We just want people to just understand you can rebel against a tyrant, a tyrannical system. That's what we stand against. But isn't that what Satan stood against? Isn't that how he felt? He felt the Most High was a tyrant, and no, this is wrong. I should be able to do what I want to do. You're a liar. These people make me so mad, man. But I understand they're just as deceived as the rest of the world. All right, these people are just deceived. And you know what? And in that same spirit, I want to play this song. I'm gonna play this song to end the show. Because this Babylon system, this system itself, like this is crazy. It's just full of lies and deceit. This system. That's all it is. It's full of lies and deceit. And this is why I'm gonna play this song. Right? Hold on. I gotta find it first. this is why I'm gonna play this song. And this song is by one of my brothers, right? Formerly known as Rawchaa, right? Shout out to him. Now his new name, I almost forgot his brother's new name. Zakar. Right? My brother Zakar. And this song was created, it's on his EP or on his album. He dropped this in 2021, the Genesis album. Genesis the album. And I was featured on this song called Babylon. Listen, this is what this place is about.
This is the Born of Levi experience on G.O.C.C. Media.
Let's go.
Can you tell me why it has to be this way? All these lies you told, you left my life astray. And now I'm standing with this life you used in vain. Babylon, you lied to me. Babylon, you lied to me.
Come out of my people, I'm talking about Babylon. This place is finna crumble and fall like an avalanche, like a bag on a flight. It's time that we carry on. Habitation of devils, homos getting they marry on. Yeah, this place disgusting. Act now, face repercussions of America being destroyed. This a judgment, sick and tired of being lied to by her. Yeah, I don't trust them cause they always hit the truth. You raised me believing in the American dream. Counted my people 3/5 less of a human being. I remember all the deaths, never gonna forget all of the times we've been oppressed. Had my people stressed, this world dysfunction at its best. Never gonna rest until we flee Babylon. Whoa, whoa. You lied to me, you lied to me, Babylon. You lied to me, you lied to me, whoa. You lied to me, you lied to me, Babylon. You lied to me, oh. Can you tell me why it has to be this way? All these lies you told, you left my life astray. And now I'm standing with this life you used in vain. Babylon, you lied to me. Babylon, you lied to me. Before anything came between us, you was like my best friend. I used to club hop on the weekends, thinking I was a heathen. You never seen that's a problem. You gave me a sense of false reality, thinking I could be what you told me, that's all vanity. Fill me up with hopes and schemes, things I couldn't believe. Living life like a dream, you had me look like a fiend. Then the Most High poured His Spirit all over these dry bones. He revived me and said one day I'm taking you all home. And He told me last time was the last time they will ever use me. You don't have to think about the past, you won't have to think about the past. And He told me last time was the last time they will ever use me.
Yes, yes, yes.
They will never use.
That was Babylon.
Never ever use.
By my Zakar, Rawchaa, titled Babylon. Shout out to that song. Shout out to my Ak. Shout it out. Man, that song was so fitting for that stupor that we just seen, man. How many times they're gonna lie to us, man? They always lying. We know y'all lying, man. We know. And we're gonna discover y'all secrets, man. I'm telling y'all. But praise the Most High for that song. That was off of his album called Genesis, the album, streaming on all major platforms. Yeah, just type in Genesis, the album, and you'll find it on SoundCloud, streaming on all major platforms. Brother is doing a lot of awesome music, creating a lot of awesome music. And you know, brothers and sisters too, as well too. I know there's a lot of brothers and sisters in the church, in the body, that are making very great positive music, very wonderful music, and I definitely do want to showcase them here on this show. But you know, there are parameters, right? There are some parameters that is gonna take to have your song on the show, right? I'm more so for building the members who have a positive track record. So you know, people who present their music to me, you know, it's all good. Show me your music, send it to me. But I want to know, you know, you gotta be in good standing with the church, man. You gotta have tenure, right? Like, not a brother who's 1-2 year in the truth and you just putting out music. You gotta have a testimony. You understand what I'm saying? There's brothers that I know personally who's been in the church 5-6 years, and when I hear their stuff, lyrically they are amazing, and they've never put out a project, because it's about humility. It's about learning to walk too. So, you know, you don't want to just rush into doing things, because honestly, music is it's a ministry. It's a ministry. So yeah, reach out to me. Definitely send me your stuff. And make sure you have your stuff streaming on platforms too, not besides YouTube, so that way you could get paid for your work, right? Don't just put your music out on YouTube and looking for a check, man. Put your music out on platforms that will allow you to reap the benefits of the streams. You understand? So that's another thing as well too. But praise the Most High to all the artists that are in the church, and especially those of you guys who I have not even yet discovered yet. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of you. There was a sister that I just found out about today. I'm like, yo, her voice is amazing, and I just want to find out where her music is so I could play this on the platform. But nonetheless, keep up the good work, Yasharala. Keep up the good work, brothers and sisters. Keep up the good work, right? Continue to let your light shine, man, because I'm telling you, you may not notice it, you may not see it, but it's making a difference. People may not tell you off the back. Man, your friends and your family, they might not come to you off the back and just tell you like, yo, what you're doing is affecting them. But they're watching you, and they're intently they're watching you. Right? And your example is rubbing off on them. I'm telling you. I know it is. But you know, continue doing what you're doing. Don't waver. Don't walk to the left, don't walk to the right. Kid, the same path that the Most High called you on, stay on that path. And I'm telling you, where the Most High is going to take you, you're not even going to understand. You're just going to see you're here. I'm like, wow, the Most High led me here. The Most High brought me here. But you just got to remain obedient to the calling, man. Don't get frustrated with this truth. Don't allow the enemy to sow discord in your heart against your brothers, against your sisters. Right? Don't allow the enemy to do that. Don't allow distractions to come and to take away what was sown in you. Don't allow that, right? The Most High called you to the truth. He opened your eyes to see the scriptures. Remain in that, because I'm telling you, temptations is going to come. Struggles is going to come, right? The enemy is going to come to try to sow discord amongst you, but don't allow that to make you lose where you stand with the Most High. Right? If the Most High gave you a gift, the Most High gave you a talent, continue working on it until the Most High elevates you where people can notice that gift in you. Because honestly, if what you have is not edifying anyone, then it's not the time for you to bring it forth, or the Most High hasn't chosen you to do that particular work. And sometimes, when we have to talk about that. We have to understand that sometimes you may be pushing in a direction where the Most High doesn't need you to be at this point in time, and you frustrate yourself, and you end up leaving, but you're frustrating yourself, right? Be patient in this walk. Be patient. Allow the Most High to use whatever gift that's in you to help other people. Because if you're doing it, and now I'm gonna say this too. If you're using your gifts and your talent, right, for self gain, or because you want to be recognized, it's gonna come to naught. It's gonna come to naught, because the Most High exalteth the humble and he resisteth the proud. It's a true thing, right? So do everything, when it comes to this work, do everything for, not for yourself, but for the benefit of the people. Because I always say, what is a gift? What is the purpose of your gift? Your gift is not for yourself. Your gift that you have given, that the Most High has given you, is for you to take that gift and to give it to other people. And if that gift that you give to other people and it's received and it's and people love it, that is your talent. That is your gift. And that's what the Most High has given you to bless others. And if the Most High gave that to you to bless others, guess what the Most High is going to do? He's going to increase it and he's going to exalt it so people could see it. That's how it works. So keep your hand on the plow and mind your business. That's what the scripture says. Every man to mind their own business. Whatever you're doing for the Most High, you do it wholeheartedly. And I believe, and believe you me, the Most High, when it's time to blossom it, he's going to blossom it. And it's going to be well received. And that was my, that was just my words of wisdom for tonight, right? But you guys already know I really appreciate you guys for coming in. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. Thank you guys for sharing this particular broadcast, and all the reposts that the stream gets on Instagram, and the love that it gets and the support. I appreciate you. And like I say, I'm not doing this for myself. Like, I'm doing this for my people, my community, because we need an outlet. So I thank you guys for coming in, right? And it was a great show.
You could be anywhere in the world, but you're now tuned into the Born of Levi experience.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys for for your support. But like all good things, this good thing must come to an end. It was a great show. It definitely was a great show, and I really hope that everybody is encouraged through the words that were spoken here, and you use these words to carry you to the next week. That's all these words are supposed to do, and that's what the Word of God is supposed to do. It's supposed to just help you, give you strength to bring you forth to the next day to day until we see Christ's coming. So I appreciate you, brothers and sisters. I love you all. Stay prayed up and sin not. And we will soon see Zion. Trust and believe. Look at the state of this world. The stupors that we play from week to week shows you we're closer than we ever was before. So with that being said, shalom. Bless you all. I love you all. Keep me in prayer. I'll keep you all in prayer. And let's continue to work. Shalom, my brothers and sisters. Until next week. Shalom.